There you
Don't,
go.
don't stop now.
Oh, there he is.
I don't know why my laptop won't sign in, but then I got to run out and get the iPad and that goes right to it.
All right, with you.
Everybody's here, Donnie.
We go, Dave. I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. I'm just
I said we got a full house.
Oh, good.
Everybody's
Let's
here.
roll.
So,
Yeah, let's
Yeah,
go ahead
let's
and roll
roll.
because I got about 15 or 20 minutes and then I might have to go out with the crew.
all right, well, tell us where we are on 9th Street and 7th Street.
Yeah, the first one, 9th Street is completely done. We had training, and I know y'all have been following, or I know y'all probably know that we were able to concrete the 48-inch, 42-inch pipe that goes out to the bay. While we finished the pump installation, we were able to concrete that off. So we totally blocked that off now, and we noticed a huge difference in the amount of water that stays in the pipe, collection system there. And the pumps, they've been doing their job, running great. We had a little bit of rain. We hadn't had a tremendous amount, but they've been running nowhere near the amount of hours that they were running when that check valve was getting stuck open. So their average, like when it rained the other day, they were like 1.5 hours a piece, where before it'd be like 12 hours, and they were just recycling water pretty much. So that was a really good thing that we were able to concrete that flap valve off, I think. Worst case scenario, well, the thoughts were there, and I think I've mentioned it before. If we get a flood and we really need, more water out of there, we can always run our diesel pump over the orange pump that was over there temporarily while we did the construction, and then that would be a better option than having that flap valve leak and then cause us to have the pumps to keep recycling the way they were for the last 2 or 3 years. Pretty bad.
So Donnie's, do those pumps run alternately?
Yes, one comes on, it'll run when it completes the cycle and cuts off, and then it's an alternator in the control panel. And what that does, that switches over to pump 2, and that'll come on cycle, same thing. Then every time it runs and it loses power, when it shuts off, then it automatically, the alternator flips to the next pump. And then what happens if it gets to where one pump can't keep up, it gets to a lag position where both pumps will kick on at the same time and run.
Well,
Yeah. So, and then we had a guy came down, he did a real good training session on the panel and the alarm system. And it's called a watchdog that looks at the pumps and then comes back to our phones so we can monitor it from wherever. He did that training at tail end of last month. He came down and did a full training session here at my shop for the guys. So far, knock on wood, that's seems to be working well, I hope, and it continues. The only thing I have to do, I think I'm going to order a couple of ballards for the people that drive by there. The gray matches the wall, it doesn't stand out, so it looks good, but I'm kind of leery about somebody tapping into those ballards in the discharge. They sell plastic slip over covers that we can just put over top the existing ballards to make them a little bit more visible for traffic.
And Donnie, the pumps, we've got the existing pump and a new one, right?
2 new 7.5 horsepowers.
Just like we have over at
Kind of similar to 5th Street.
similar to 5th Street.
Yeah, but a little bit smaller. 5th Street has 15 horsepower. The wet well here and what's coming into that station, it would cycle way too much. So we did 7.5 horsepower there.
The reason I ask is, with this we ought to probably put out some little notice to the community that yet another phase of the town's project to mitigate the flooding issues and so on. So
most definitely. I think we definitely
can draft something like that for you.
Yeah, I
That's
think
it.
that was that we were talking about that at our last meeting, but now that this is really done, I think that would be a great thing to do.
Yeah, I'll draft something and let everyone take a look and
Cool.
send it on to, afterwards we can send it on to Stacy or Dawn or whoever.
Sounds good. That'd be great. Dawn does have it in her state of the town, which is coming up, I think, this month at the council meeting. But I would like for the flood committee to put out additional. That'd be great.
Okay.
And then Seventh Street, what we're doing, we have a plan. Instead of trying to hire an engineer and spend money, and this is my thought, I hadn't ran it through the powers to be, but I kind of talked a little bit, I think Lauren knows, and the committee made her heard, but we have a plan that shows the pump station that was supposed to be put there. And the same time that 9th Street was done, 2002, they were supposed to build a mirror image down there at 7th Street. I've sent that plan out to a pump guy, design type guy. And what we're gonna do is use that plan so we don't have to waste time and spend money on an engineer, but bid the project using the existing plan. Everything's the same there. The road's the same, the boardwalk's in the same spot. So the big infrastructure stuff's in the same spot. But what we did do on the plan is I'm gonna update the pump data specification section on the notes of the plans to show, put in the exact, like the same thing we did at 9th Street. So it'll be an upgraded control panel on that sheet that goes out to bid, the updated pumps on there that goes out to bid. But the drawing shows, a pump station that matches 9th Street for the concrete structure that the pumps are in. Everything's the same. And we will have to find a spot to put that control panel. And we're trying to make contact with the person who owns the, I can never remember the name of that pastry place there.
Elisa's.
Elisa's Market, right. It's a little strip that all we need is like a 8 foot wide by 2 foot wide piece to put a control panel. We're thinking that grass area that's to the east of the parking lot for the market, sticking the control panel there because PG&E can come down the pole, put power to it, and then we'll just have to drill a line under the road out to the pump station for power to the pump. So we've Linda, our town manager, and then Rick have a meeting the 20th of this month with that property owner, and I'm going to get them to bring it up, kind of float the idea of getting an easement from them to put the panel there, so it won't be sticking out in the way, blocking anybody's view. It'll kind of be tucked away, hidden there. So once we get those pieces together, we got to send it to Amanda, who's our RFP person, and hopefully that'll be out in March to bid.
Hey, Donnie, is that 2 pumps or 1 pump at 7th
Two
Street?
pumps.
Two
Yeah,
pumps, okay, good.
yeah, it'll be duplex, same operation. They'll alternate.
Okay.
Transducer. And another big thing we have to add there is we do have, once we get the pumps in there, then we can block off the discharge line like we did at 9th that goes out, because that's the majority of the flooding. Bob can tell you, that was the mayor, by the way, but the majority of flooding there happens from the tide coming back in and coming up through the storm drain. At 7th, it's even worse for its elevation wise than 9th Street is, because that always runs down. So that'll help not only 7th Street when we get that blocked off, but it'll help out the pumps at 9th, because when it starts flooding at 7th, it heads north, runs down the gutter panel on Annapolis, and starts to fill up the collection system at 9th Street.
So, hey, Donnie, do you have a scope of work drafted, or were you just gonna use kind of what we use for 9th Street?
Kind of what we use for 9th Street. I didn't get that one yet, but kind of what we use for 9th Street and drawings that we had for 7th Street.
Yeah.
Because he did like a complete, John Hoffman, the old town engineer, has a complete set of drawings and everything for that. So I'm hoping we can just kind of use that stuff.
Any
we're gonna-
other real estate issues associated at 7th Street other than the control panel?
The 7th Street will have to be the intersection at Atlantic and 7th, like when we start to do the actual construction, will have to be shut down for a pretty good period of time to get that wet well installed. But the plans show that going right in the asphalt, maybe a couple feet north of the boardwalk there where the little flower bed, kind of small rock garden is there. That thing will sink in the asphalt right in the roadway there. And then we'll run a pipe from that wet well over to the existing collection pipe to tie. So we can build that thing, not have any flow, set the pumps, do everything dry. And then the last section will be a pipe that runs over, and we got to pop a hole in the existing concrete pipe to let the flow come into the pump station. But everything else should be in the town right away, like the boring for the electric pipe should be under the electric power.
Okay.
Under the roadway there, and then the discharge will be similar to 7th Street, just come up and go over the wall, same. So that'll be in the roadway. I don't see anything else, that would need to be on private property.
I mean, the only
Okay.
thing that could potentially slow this down would be if we have a hard time finding a place to put the panel, right?
Right, yep. And we're gonna,
Donnie, are you planning to put the panel in some sort of little hut? Or will it be exposed?
I'm hoping we can. I mean, we can get a stainless steel and they're exposed all the time, but it's always better if we can put it, and that'll depend on the property owner, like what he'll kind of allow. But we're gonna use a selling point, try to say, hey, this is gonna really help your property, help your parking lot stay dry if you allow us to put this panel here to run this pump station. But that's not the only option. I mean, we can squeeze it. If you put it up in the little flower bed, which is right by the boardwalk there, it's so exposed to the elements where you'd have to put something there and then that's blocking the view and everything else. But, that's one option, is that property. That's the best option, I think. And I'm hoping they got plenty of room there. So I'm hoping that the owners will give us an easement for that. But yeah, we'd like to put it in a small, even if we put it in a small enclosure where we had to open a door and then open the control panel door, at least it'll be something to protect it from the weather.
Yeah.
And it'll have to be, the problem there, it'll have to be elevated above, probably elevation 8 above sea level to get it to meet the electrical code. So it'll be up in the air a little bit, but I think that road there is probably 3-something minutes. You probably, Bob, have shot that, I don't know, right, like midway 7th Street between Annapolis and Atlantic.
Yeah, it's the bottom of the panel that has to be 8 feet.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So long as we're there, and then we're like 3.5 at the road, so we'll have to be, 4.5 feet above the roadway there, probably.
Yeah,
But that depends on the property owner. I'm hoping, I've never met the owner, and right now the problem is he's got a lease with the person who's running the market. So, I'm gonna wait and let Linda talk to him and kind of see what the deal is. But I can't see why they wouldn't. It's not that, it's a fence line there. It's almost an alley there anyway. It'd be backed right up against the properties that are on the boardwalk. So it's not going to be out in the middle of the grass lot or anything.
And as you point out, it does reduce the flooding for them.
Yeah,
eventually.
it helps. You're right. It helps them out a lot for the parking
Yeah.
lot and everything else there. So,
Yeah, I don't think he's gone through a flood yet, so
right.
maybe have Linda bring some pictures of
Mhm.
that area to the meeting.
Right. We got a couple good ones when he just finished the parking lot, and the guy, Patrick, who runs the market, was there. But the owner, I don't know if I don't even know who he is, to be honest with you, or where if he's from around the area where he has been there. But we will have some pictures. That's a good idea. So he can see firsthand, and then hopefully he'll say yes. So that's those two. I think that's, I got a list, and that's 4th on the list. We got one of the next things, or one of the things on the list that Lauren had emailed, and I didn't realize she did yet, but it's a green infrastructure grant. And that's a September deadline. So that's like second on the RFP person's workload to get to. And then 7th Street pump station will be 3rd or 4th on that list right after that. So hopefully that'll move along pretty quickly. But we met with DNR once. We had to send them a report where we're at on the design, the Green Infrastructure Grant Design Award. And then we want to we have to have that designed and ready by the next meeting, which they meet every quarter. So we need to get that out. So we're not behind on that. We started a little bit behind because we didn't, Tom wrote the grant. We were kind of in the middle. We got awarded, then Tom left. And then we had a little period there where nobody picked it up. We picked it back up again. So we're trying to get back on track with that grant. We should have had a engineer on board by January, by their schedule, but we can always ask for an extension, but I don't think we'll need it, because if we get that out fairly soon, we should still be in their time frame.
Do we have someone who's going to put the design together? Is that what you're saying?
The grant, yeah, I mean, Lauren has seen it. The grant spells out like what, and it's just for designing of the elements. I mean, once she gets a draft, I showed Amanda's the person's name who does the RFPs, and we're giving her the background information on it, this and that. So she's supposed to take it, do a draft and send it back, and then we can review and then, add what's needed or not needed or critique it hopefully. And then we have to send everything to the town attorney and then put it out to bid. She emailed me back today, but I didn't look at it.
Greenwood and the parking lot, right?
Yeah,
Donnie?
Greenwood Avenue, and then the part that I like that's not really in there is I want to try to tell them that we want to add some cool flower beds around that parking lot, and then use some maybe tanks and do some stormwater stuff there that's cool, that the library could do classes or with kids and all come over and take a look. Instead, we have a solar pump installed and a tank that holds water underneath the flower beds to irrigate those, because it'd be a cool learning type thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we got it's plenty of money in the design grant to come up with something pretty cool there. And since the library is right there next to it, I think it'd be perfect location to do that. So we like basically have talked about going, border that parking lot with some type of flower beds, plants, or whatever that need irrigating, and then come up with the irrigation system that we could do it with. And I think part of that grant also calls for some kind of, educational part to the grant, a component in there, right? So I'm hoping that, I provided a little bit of scope. We had a whole new regime come in with Linda, with the town administrator, and a bunch of the stuff was sitting on the CIP list and been waiting, and now we're trying to get information and trying to get everything done. So
the CIP list, for those of you who don't know what that acronym means, it's the Capital Improvement Projects list. And Donnie presented it at the work session last week. It's a pretty cool list for those of us who care about North Beach infrastructure. And it is on Board Docs if you all want to check it out. Includes all of our flood stuff.
right, it's a good list. And then Veronica Atkins, who the town hired as a CIP kind of manager, budget wise and everything else. It's pretty cool because it shows you the money spent, the money left, and everything else. It breaks out not only the projects, but the budget, where the budget came from, and remaining budget and encumbered numbers. So kind of gives you all the information on every project. But that like I say, hopefully all these things will be out by April. We're under the gun to get everything September of 25 for design for that thing to be almost completed, I believe. But like I say, the girl we met with, Nicole, who was the project manager, and she was pretty flexible if we needed a time extension, or pretty agreeable. Like if we need anything, just to email her, meet with her again, and then we could always ask for a little extension. But I don't want to ask for anything like that or even bring that up. I want to keep projects moving, hopefully. And then what we had, the
Oh, Donnie. Hey, Donnie.
offshore breakwater.
Hey, Donnie, sorry.
No, go
So
ahead.
so the next step, so then we would go out with an RFP, and the RFP would be soliciting bids for an engineer, right? To do
Right.
Okay, all right.
That's just design. That's what I asked.
just
The big
design, right.
question. Yeah, I asked that question there because it was $100,000, and I'm like, damn, that would almost be enough to get some work done too. But it was Tom had wrote these grants. He kind of got a little bit some information, then he wrote them, and I didn't realize it was $100,000 just for design. So we should be able to get. But Greenwood Avenue might take a little bit of new ideas in both of these areas. So it might take a little bit to get it designed. But we got up to $100,000 just for design. And that's all that grant covers is design. It was none in for actual
Okay,
construction.
okay. Good to know.
Yeah. I was thinking it was for both, but it's just design only. Just because of the amount of it. But
Yeah, that is the offshore,
yeah, then we have that offshore breakwaters or eventment. As y'all probably know, we had two different, Bayland came and Calvert Soil Conservation came. Both of them did a presentation at council meetings. The problem with it was they weren't really apples to apples. They were kind of two totally different things. And to award one was kind of hard to do because of that. We were thinking we'd hear them, maybe get it, and maybe got rewarded. But after we thought about it, Lauren was a big help to me on it. It wasn't really bidding apples to apples. So we wanted to be clean and transparent. So then we decided we needed to do an RFP for that area, for that project. So we took, some information from those presentations, all the information we learned since we heard the presentations, kind of came up with a draft. I sent that off to Amanda. Lauren has made some comments on it also to our town administrator, and that's now in the hands of the town attorney, and hopefully they'll give us some answers or give us something back so we can put that out to bid. That'll be out to bid first, probably, out of all the items. That should go out, I hope, in the next couple of weeks.
The good,
Definitely.
interesting thing about, I like the scope of work because it actually, it asks for, solicits engineer to develop a design that incorporates the ideas in the Bayland and the SCD
Right.
proposals. So we say, we want a living shoreline, we want a breakwater, we want to incorporate an oyster reef or something like that, if that would be helpful. And it lays out a bunch of different ideas for the bidders to consider, before they put together their bid. So hopefully by kind of directing the bidder in terms of identifying what we are interested in, we'll get some good bids coming back in.
I did put in there too, a line item to have have the engineering firm give us go over the project details. Once we get that far, they can go for the stakeholders like the council, the flood committee, myself,
Yeah, that
and
was
whoever
good.
on staff. We put a number in there so they can do like a little presentation before they do the whole design. Like, we're going to go through, we left, like Lauren said, we kind of left it open because it's, who knows, somebody might come out with something today that says it's better. I don't know if you get too crazy, but we wanted to leave it open so we could combine everything, get the best product for the best dollar that we could to do the most that we can protect there with. So that's where that's at. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get that back.
Donnie, is that design only or design build?
That's design only because we started to do design build, but then I started looking around and a lot of the firms that could build it didn't have a design engineer on board. Some of them did, and we're going to have a pre-bid meeting so we can, but that's just for design only. And then some of the ones that were designed couldn't build the structure. So it's so I'm hoping they'll team up. I'm hoping we can get the company that you referred me to team up with one of these design engineers so they'll be ready to bid it.
Right.
Yeah, I did meet on site with a contractor just to get his opinion of what he thought it would work. Also met a couple good that do a lot of work in northern neck of Virginia, and also they were working in Solomon, so they were up this way anyway. So they stopped by one day when they were visiting the job on Solomon's just to take a look at the area, kind of. So, but we did design, and I kind of was mixed on that one. So hopefully we'll get design and then we'll go right in. But in the RFP for the design, we asked for permit ready, construction ready set of plans for a contractor to bid. So it doesn't, so that should be a short time period in between when the design is done. We asked for like a permit ready project ready to go. Like, we can put it out and advertise it for contractors to bid on and be ready to go within 2 weeks.
Yep. Can't wait for that one.
That'd be good because it's only a matter of time before another east wind comes and destroys the railing, and maybe sooner or later the sewer line will disappear, and then Gary won't be able to go to the bathroom. But it's only a matter of, like I say, who knows when it'll happen, but it's not if, it's when.
Well, it's important. It's infrastructure. It's the boardwalk. It's people's houses. It's people.
Right.
That's an
There's a
important
lot of money there. Right.
protective measure.
Right.
in
That
that
also
area.
could help. I'm hoping that also helps the north side of the beach, protect some of that,
Yeah.
even because the way it's built would help, protect some of that erosion that we have on the beach there. So,
Yeah, the idea is the headland breakwater would be just offshore. I can't remember how many feet offshore.
like 50
30,
feet or so, 50
50.
yards or so, man.
And it would, and then behind the headland, between the headland breakwater and the boardwalk, the idea is that sand would build up behind that and create kind of like a living shoreline, which, you know, that's where all the horseshoe crabs come, right?
Right.
Wouldn't that be great to have something like that there instead of just the rocks?
So they'd be protected a lot more right in there instead of being slammed up against the rocks. So, and then the sewer line and then the boardwalk underneath of there, we do have, it's not in the design really. We ask them to look at the boardwalk, but we need to straighten that boardwalk back out because that suffered, it's kind of like a roller coaster now. It's not real noticeable, but it needs to be restructured. Probably some timbers and all need to be resecured under there, but I don't want to do that work until we get some protection in front of it. So that might be a phase 2 thing.
And speaking of the boardwalk, the last item is when the construction's going to start for the new kayak ramps and all that business, Lauren.
All right, well, Donnie, jump in. But I'll start it off. So right now we're in the concept plan was approved by council and we were given the go ahead to move forward on creating a small boat launch on the pier and a soft boat launch on the South Beach and a ADA versus or / truck ramp on the South Beach. So the truck ramp means it's it will allow Donnie or Phil to get equipment onto the beach to move sand around if, you know, big storm comes and or puts a lot of debris on the beach. And those are the 3 big things. So council approved that, and right now we reached out to Bayland, and they are under contract to secure permits for the work. So they have they're in the process of scheduling an on-site meeting with MDE, DNR, and the Army Corps of Engineers, and that should happen. We don't have a date yet, do we, Donnie?
No, but I'm thinking the way she was emailed the other day, it's going to be pretty soon.
Pretty soon, yeah.
Yeah, but we don't have a date yet. We reached out. They have emailed back to get some, they wanted a sketch to see what we're doing to kind of preview before they met. But we met, and the person that reached out to us, we met before, so it's not like a whole new explanation to them. So
it should take maybe a couple months. And then I guess, aren't there some things, Donnie? Aren't there a few things that we can do that don't require a permit, like the truck ramp? I don't know what.
Yeah,
I have thought about that yet.
Yeah, we're working on I think we're going to do the truck ramp in-house because that's not a huge thing. When Bayland came down, they provided a pretty fancy ramp in the drawings, but I think even Public Works, all we have to do is maybe get a building permit. We just need something heavy enough that we can drive the skid steer down on the beach, and also we can use it as like a handicapped wheelchair type ramp in case we have someone get hurt and we need like an ambulance stretcher on the beach, or if we have somebody that's we had a beach type wheelchair that was donated, but really we don't have access way to get it down to the beach. So if we get a person that comes, a resident or visitor that comes now that needs the wheelchair to get on the beach, we don't have any way for them to get there. So it's not a huge, it's maybe 10 feet wide, you know, and it's 16 feet to give us the right inch per foot that we need for the ADA compliant. So maybe a 20-foot long ramp that's going to butt right up against the steps on the octagon, the south side of the octagon at the existing octagon there. So that's not a huge project. We don't need a MDE permit. We just need a building permit at the most for that, I hope. So we're as soon as the weather, like April, you know, we're trying to get that done probably.
Yeah.
And then we also, one of I found out that the Calvert County has a some marine contractors that they put out a bid and they get qualified marine contractors to respond to that bid. So we may be able to piggyback if we need any work once MDE comes down. That renewal is at the end of this month. They should have their marine contractors secured. So if we want to, we don't have to, but if we want to, we if the matches a similar work, we can piggyback so we don't have to put out an RFP for the kayak launch, or if we do any work on the kayak launch itself there, we could piggyback off their unit price to get it done. We like to get it done before Memorial Day, of course. So that's what, if we get the permit meeting down, as soon as we get that done, then we'll know more. But we really can't, we don't know a timeline until we meet with them to see what they require, because The only thing so far, they said they might have to make it a little bit smaller, but it wasn't enough to really make it. It's only 4 feet narrower than the, it's 26 feet instead of 30, so that's not a huge problem. That's no problem, really.
Oh, I forgot the coolest part of the whole project. The second coolest part is we're expanding the swim area on the south side. So we would move the sea nettle net out pretty much all the way to the jetty. So it just makes a bigger swim area, deeper, bigger swim area on the south side. And that's why we need a DNR
And
there.
that's a thing that we could get a unit price for pilings, like to redrive and pull off the unit price contract from the county, for sure. So that's where that's at. So hopefully, like I said, I'll meet in the next couple of weeks with them and move forward.
North Beach Yacht Club project.
All right.
Boat
Yeah.
club.
Yeah, we'll have to rename our committee or something.
Yeah,
We
yeah, that's
got
okay.
to set up some wind sailing tournaments and stuff like that. Paddleboard tournaments.
Regattas.
Right.
That's next summer.
They sort of get some
Yeah.
use to size walk.
Chesapeake Beach, North Beach,
Yeah.
stand-up paddleboard regatta, beach to beach, town to town. You can see it now.
Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah,
And get some use out of it, and besides just walking on it for exercise.
right.
Get some water use out of it.
Yeah.
That's all the agenda items, unless anyone has any questions or new business.
I'm trying to make sure we didn't forget anything because it seems like it's been a couple minutes.
So I guess the only action item is just the, Dave will pull together a draft kind of blast about our latest about 9th Street. and
Right.
Send that around for folks to chime in. And then other than that, I don't think we have anything else. Unless I missed something.
I think Donnie has to shovel snow, right?
Not yet. It looks like hopefully the temperature keeps up, but I think we will. Like, I think it's gonna be 4 o'clock in the morning, so we'll be sitting
Yep.
there until then or doing something. We might stop by your house. What are we?